Hello everyone. Welcome to our Holy Week Centerpiece devotional for Good Friday. Today is kind of a heavy day because today, as the church, we remember that Jesus died. It's not an easy thing to think about, but this is the day that we remember it, and we also know that in 2 days we will celebrate Jesus rising from the dead. So we know that Jesus' death isn't the end of the story. We have hope, and that's good. So for today, I have our Holy Week centerpiece with just the one candle lit because we've extinguished 4. And I put a little cup on it yesterday because we talked about communion and the Last Supper that Jesus had with his disciples. So I put that there. If you're doing your own, you can put a little cup or something to represent friendship. Be creative. So today's Bible story is pretty long, and so I'm just going to read a portion of it, and then your family can read the whole thing if you want afterward, or you can pause it and read the whole thing. I'm just going to read the end part and kind of summarize the rest. So in the book of Matthew, chapter 27, it talks about Jesus' trial before Pilate and the soldiers who made fun of Jesus, and then how Jesus had to carry his cross through the city all the way up to where he was going to be crucified. And a lot of things happen in the story for when he's hanging on the cross. And then he calls out to God, and then he dies. But then right after that, I'm going to read starting in verse 51. Look, the curtain of the sanctuary was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks split, and the bodies of many holy people who had died were raised. After Jesus' resurrection, they came out of their graves and went into the holy city, where they appeared to many people. When the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and what had just happened, they were filled with awe and said, "This was certainly God's Son." So right after Jesus died, a lot of crazy things happened. It says the curtain to the temple split in two, and there was an earthquake, and rocks split, and people who were dead were suddenly alive. So can you imagine being there at that time when all that stuff was happening? That's why the guards said, surely this was the Son of God, because stuff like that doesn't just happen when normal people die. Jesus must have been someone special, and we know that he was someone special. He was the Son of God. So let's say a prayer together. Dear God, this story is really hard and heavy, but we know it has a good ending, and until we get to the ending, help us to wait. In your name we pray. Amen. So the story obviously ends on a very sad note because Jesus has died. But like I mentioned before, we know what happens at the end of the story. And Jesus' death is not the last thing. We know that Easter happens, and we get to celebrate Jesus rising from the dead. So it's still Good Friday, though. It's not Easter yet, so we have to blow out our last candle. And now we wait. We'll have one more devotion on Saturday, tomorrow. And until then, or until Easter, we just have to wait. I'll see you guys again tomorrow, okay?